Hello, everyone, and welcome to our August garden tour. We were thinking about it this morning and thought we would try to do something a little bit different today.
We realized that gardens are made up of stories. So what we would like to do is share some of the stories in our garden with you.
And before we start, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Connie. This is my husband, Mark, and welcome to our magical garden.
So where should we start?
Well, I have an idea, and it's right next to me. Many years ago, a member of our garden club called me and said that she had a very old rose that she had planted years ago, but she didn't want it anymore. It was getting a bit too unruly for her. And so she asked if Mark would want to dig it up and we could put it in our garden. And I felt very honored that any garden club member would give me some of their plants. And so we went to her house, we dug the plant up, and we planted it in our garden. And it has beautiful red roses. So I found a wonderful place where the red doesn't clash with anything else in the garden, because that's important in our garden. And we found out later, we didn't know this at the time, but we found out later that this garden club friend was not in very good health, and she passed shortly after she gave us her rose. So it feels like a legacy rose, and it makes me think of her every time it blooms in the spring.
It's August, and the pollinators are out in full force.
And one of the most amazing pollinator plants is this ornamental onion. You can really smell it too. You can smell the onions, but it really attracts a lot of honeybees. I was with a little girl and her grandmother a few days ago, and I was trying to convince her that all these little bees care about is eating these plants. They don't care about her. She was afraid they were going to eat her.
Yeah, she was scared.
She was scared. And here's another one of my absolute favorite plants in the garden. Look, it's just covered.
This is Montrose White.
It's a nepeta, and it's called Montrose White. And the garden centers have really figured out that this is an important plant to put in the garden, especially this time of year. We have it in so many places.
And then later on this month and into September, those tall plants over there, that's goldenrod.
And believe it or not, I cut that down by half in June, gave it the old Chelsea chop, and look at them. They still continue to grow too tall. But they don't just attract honeybees. They attract and so many different types of wasps. I've never seen that many before. They're incredible. The coneflowers are pretty popular too, especially with the bumblebees, but I don't see any right now. It's a little overcast, so we don't have as many bees on an overcast day.
Yeah, you can tell. I think August is definitely not my favorite time in the garden. I find it a little sad because things are starting to die back.
It's a little scruffy. We still have quite a good number of phlox, though.
And this summer snow clematis is still blooming. That's very, very pretty. Get a lot of bang for your buck with this guy.
And look at it, even when the flowers are done, it's still very pretty. As you can see with the one just directly in front of us, it's mostly finished blooming. It's a little bit older, and it still looks pretty.
Yeah, it's very structural.
Very, very pretty.
Yep.
And there's always the argument of whether we call it a clematis, which I'm a Midwesterner, and so therefore for me it's clematis, and Mark is calling it a clematis.
I'm British, so I can call it whatever.
Maybe you'd like to let us know in the comments what you call it. Clematis or clematis. I think it depends on the region of the country you're from, or what country you're from, actually. And this is Joe Pye Weed. And again, we gave this the Chelsea chop in mid-June. This is an absolute favorite of the bumblebees. It seems like every bee has its favorite plant. Watch out for your arm here because there's one right by it.
Yep.
We have another little stand of goldenrod here that I did not intend to let grow. And you can see it's just about ready to bloom. But it made it up. I didn't notice it, and I decided to let it go. It can definitely plant itself in places I don't want it, but I let this one go because it's here with the phlox. It's structurally pretty, and I decided to leave it.
Things are looking a little bit scruffy because we've had a lot of rain, an awful lot of rain. We actually had flash floods, and the area we were just standing in was actually under, what, about a foot of water?
A foot of water.
Mm-hmm. More wonderful pollinators. And then one of the stories of our garden year this year has been potted plants, because we've actually given up now on petunias because of the budworm. You can see a little bit of the damage they do here.
What they do is they eat off the buds, and once they get to the flower, they chew holes in it. And it can be sprayed, and I don't know the full name of it, but it's known as BT. But it's a little bit difficult to do that when you plant as many petunias as I do. And I've been planting them for years. And it pains me to say that I'm giving up, but I'm going to try to find, it's always good to try something new too. And so I'm going to do some new annuals in our pots next year.
The big success though this year has been these moss roses. They've done a wonderful job. And I really like the way they close up in the evening and then open again in the morning. They're really pretty. Because these two baskets had petunias in, and they just stopped flowering completely.
They stop flowering before you can even notice. The budworms will get them. And unfortunately, if you spray them with BT, the worm has to eat the BT. Otherwise, they will continue to work on killing your plant. There's just no saving them. And I'm not alone. I've talked to other neighbors, and the same thing has happened to them.
And then we have more ornamental onions here. And then just coming into bloom, we have this sedum.
And this is a sedum that I purchased many years ago from the Morton Arboretum near us in Lisle, Illinois. And you can't buy this in garden centers, but look at the leaf. The leaf has this little cuts in it, and the name of it is T-Rex. You can find it online, but it's called T-Rex, which I think is a funny name. And the great thing about this, unlike many of you are probably familiar with autumn joy, which is this used to be the standard sedum that everyone would plant, but they would fall apart right in the middle, and there'd be a hole in the middle of your plant, and all of the flowers would be on the ground. This does not do it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's tidy, it stays in its place, and I really love it.
And when these come into bloom, they'll be covered in pollinators within the next few days. By the looks of it, you can see.
I think so.
There's a little bit of a blush on that one there.
What's funny is sometimes the bees come to it anyway, just trying.
Yeah.
They know.
Wait. Yeah.
More nepeta. Oh, and here's an anemone, which should not really love the sun. This gets full sun all day, and this thing is so hardy. We've tried to dig some of it up and divide it. It can't happen. It just doesn't like it. But it's an amazing plant. It's very difficult to find plants, perennials that will bloom in August and September, and this is a really reliable one.
And we replaced this rose this year, so this is its first year.
It is. It's his first year.
And it's doing quite well. It's a Zephyrin Druheim, is it?
Zephyrin Druheim.
Mm.
It's a mouthful.
This is our little herb garden.
For some reason, and I don't know why, the basil is not doing well this year, and I'm not the only one who's mentioned that. I just saw someone who said the same thing about her basil. And this, it looks like it's been eaten. It's fennel, and it is the plant that the caterpillars for the black swallowtail butterfly. This is what they eat, and they lay their eggs on here. So I'm always plant this every year so that can happen.
And we did this little vignette this year, really just to hide an ugly part of the garden, because right behind there is where I clean the filter mats for the pond, so it's quite ugly. So this kind of takes the eye away from it. We've talked a lot about pollinators, and the guys that really kickstart the whole season are these wonderful mason bees. They've done their thing now. And you can see they've come back into their nests and they're ready.
Well, what they've done is they've laid eggs in there. And then they put some food in with the eggs, and then they pack it with mud, which we provide for them right behind us, where Mark was mentioning that he cleans the filter mat. So we have a little bit of mud all the time. And they pack it in, and in the spring, these will be the first bees to come out really early in April. Is it even earlier?
March, even
March.
Yeah.
And so some of our shrubs that they can pollinate, that's what they go for.
And we started the tour with a story. I'm going to end with a story, and that's the story of this redbud right there, which is doing really well, looking wonderfully healthy. So what happened was, we had a redbud, and see it's right there. Wonderfully healthy tree. We had a redbud planted at the end of the berm of our pond, and it died. Actually, it was before we had the pond.
Before we had the pond.
It was just a raised bed, and the redbud died. And we weren't planning on replacing it. And then we noticed, actually on the lot line, somewhere along here, that a redbud, a tiny redbud, had sprung up, but it wasn't convenient to have it right there next to the path. So I dug it up, and it was probably only 6 to 8 inches high.
It was so little.
Dug it up and planted it there, and it's loved its spot.
We didn't have another place in the garden to put it. We really didn't have a place for this kind of tree in our garden, so we planted it here close to the lot line. And isn't that amazing how much it's grown? And that was probably about 2012, because that's when we put the pond in. So that's how old he is.
And it works really well from both sides of this gate, because it really frames that gate and that entryway into our garden. So we think that was quite a lovely story. Some of the stories of our garden are made up of gifts that our neighbours have given us, which we think is just so wonderful.
It's great. It gives us so much joy, because we're on a corner lot, and so many people walk past our garden frequently. And in order to thank us for the joy that they receive from the garden, they give us gifts, and it makes them feel like they're a part of this. And it's just absolutely wonderful for us.
It's just so unexpected.
Right.
And so wonderful that somebody would care enough to want to contribute to our garden and the story of our garden.
Yes, absolutely. Really appreciate it.
And this one in particular was from a neighbour and now a good friend. And when the sun shines on it, it catches the light in such a way that it throws sparkles across the fairy garden, really making the fairy garden a magical place. So do you have any stories in your garden that you'd like to share? Please leave a comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.